Venetian, $800 entry, 300k guaranteed, 40k starting stack. Let's get it. We start off late regging, but still in the somewhat early stages of the tournament around level 5. Nothing really happens for a while until we get to level 6, where blinds are 300, 500 with a 500 big blind ante. Most people still have around the starting stack of 40,000, which is plenty. The button is an older white woman who raises to 1,200. We considered 3-betting here, but we decided to just flat, as it really sucks if we get 4-bet or our opponent calls our 3-bet and we do not flop well, and then we have an inflated pot. It's better to keep the pot small and try to just hit a set or hit a decent flop. That's what we do. So when she bets 1,200, we make the call. Flop comes 7 of spades, 5 of clubs, deuce of diamonds. It's a pretty good flop for us. We check to the initial raiser, who checks back. Now, the turn is the ace of spades. We check and our opponent bets 1,600. While our opponent can have an ace, it is also a card I expect them to bet as a bluff no matter what, and folding sixes here would be just too tight. Our hand's too strong. So we decided to make the call. Now the river is the jack of clubs. Our opponent bets 3,200. Against most people, I might lean towards folding here because it's half pot, kind of seems value-y. But this woman seemed to have been getting away with a lot of betting and taking the pot down post flop in previous hands. So I kind of had a feeling that she was on the bluffier side. I'm really only just concerned with her having an ace in this spot. If she rivered a jack, I don't know if she would go for value, even though she should. This woman, I don't know if she would have. So it's really a matter of if we think she has an ace or not. Being button versus big blind, this makes it even less likely that she has a real hand anyways. We just go with our read here and actually make the hero call for 3,200. And we see the good news. Our opponent has king 4 off. I think her sizings were not very good. She should have bet larger when the ace came, and she should have bombed the river, and I most likely would have folded. She bet too small, and I just didn't believe her. We win a decent sized pot to kick things off. In this next hand, it's pretty self-explanatory. We pick up pocket aces at level 6, 300, 500, 500 blinds. We open to 1,300. The hijack is an oldish white male, not too old where he's like insanely nitty, but just middle-aged oldish white male. So, he's not messing around, right? Anyways, he 3-bets to 3,600. We are going to 4-bet to 14k. Because we want to start building a pot. We're very deep. We want to get all the money in, which is what we do. So the man jams all in, and we snap call. Let's find out what he has. Our opponent has pocket kings. Now, we just have to hold. The flop comes 7 of clubs, 3 diamonds, 3 of hearts. The turn, 6 of spades, and the river, 4 diamonds. We double for over 97,000 chips, giving us almost 250 big blinds at level 6. We are joined here by the Buddha to wish us luck in this tournament. Level 6 was quite a good one. We made a hero call with 6s, and we got aces in versus kings to double up off a full starting stack and more. So we have about 90k now. It's an ultimate stack tournament, so we already started with a lot. So we have over 100 bigs. Going back to level 7, blinds are going to be 300, 600. Let's get it. And we are now at level 8 at 400, 800 big blind. And we have 110,000, 138 big blinds. Now, we have pocket 10s under the gun, plus 1. We raise to 2,000. Folds to the small blind, makes a call, and to the big blind, who makes a call. Flop comes 10, 6, deuce. About as good as you're going to ask for it to come. Small blind checks, big blind checks, and we check back because we're not really worried about anything on this type of board. Turn comes jack of hearts. Small blind checks, big blind checks, and now we're going to want to start betting. Hopefully someone hit a jack. Maybe someone has a drawing hand like hearts or a straight draw. So we're going to bet big here. We're going to bet about 3/4 pot, 4k into 6,800. Now, we could even bet a little bit bigger, but we decided to just bet 4k. So the small blind folds, and the big blind from our first hand, the older white woman, who's a little bit loose, decides to call. The river is the queen of clubs. She checks. Now, it's not a great card because it makes it a little bit harder for us to get value because we have ace king in our range and she doesn't. But otherwise, we're still going to go for value. We decide on a size of 8k. So this is about a little bit more than half pot. She calls with king queen. So she rivered a queen and If we would have known that, we would bet a little bit bigger. But either way, this is why we would bet big on turn, charge those draws. And yeah, I think she has to call here. Blocks ace king anyways, so if I was bluffing, it's pretty decent bluff catcher. So I don't fault her for calling here. I think she played it fine. And we pick up a decent size pot for 30,000. This next hand happens pretty shortly after the hand we just won. The under the gun 1 player raises to 2K. The low jack calls for 2K off of a 30-ish big blind stack. Cutoff calls and the small blind folds. Now we are in the big blind and we decide to 3-bet squeeze to 12K, obviously as a bluff, hoping everyone fold with the ace of spades, 7 of clubs. This is a pretty good hand to do it with as we block ace king, ace queen, all the ace x type hands. So we decide to assert our authority and put in the squeeze play. To our surprise, the low jack ends up jamming all in for 27,800. Now it folds back around to me and we have to call almost a min raise to win 45K. So we're just getting too good of a price in this situation. If we're up against a big pair, we might still even have 30% as we can hit an ace to win. So we make the call and we are up against a big pair. The guy decided to call pocket queens and got the lucky situation where I decided to squeeze, and it runs out in his favor. So we lose about, almost 40 big blinds in this pot, which kind of hurt and was definitely annoying, but I think the squeeze is still a good play and I would do it again. So it is what it is and we move on. This next hand is a good one, so pay attention. We have ace 4 diamonds in the small blind at level 9, 500, 1K, 1K, big blind ante. We have about 140 big blinds. The cutoff raises to 2,300. He's got about 43 big blinds. Now, we could go either way here. We could just flat or we could 3-bet. I wasn't doing a lot of 3-betting at this time, so I decided to put this in my 3-betting category, and we 3-bet to 7K. The big blind folds, cutoff calls. The flop comes ace of spades, 5 of diamonds, 6 of spades. Now, we could bet here or we could check. I actually like checking here more for pot control and being that we have the backdoor straight draw. Now, yes, there are 2 spades, but we don't necessarily have to protect against spades. So I like a check here. Our opponent bets 3K. So he bets absolutely tiny. We don't really see much reason for raising here. If he's bluffing, we really want him to keep bluffing. So we just make the call. Now the turn is the jack of clubs. Doesn't really change much. We decide to check. Now our opponent has 35K and there's 22K left in the pot. Our opponent bets 13K, about over half pot. I don't think this is really a great sizing in general because if I'm calling the turn, he's not going to have much left on the river and I'm probably calling the river. I don't love this spot. He could definitely still have a bigger ace than me and be betting for value, but I think we can't fold an ace at this point. So we go ahead and make the call. The river comes 7 of hearts. He decides to bet all in 22K into 48K. Now we've arrived to the river at this point and it's not very big bet in comparison to the pot. So I think we just have to call here. We may be beat sometimes by a better ace or a set or whatever, but I think he also has some bluffs like missed spade draws and just air, right? So we go ahead and make the call. We are quite happy to find out he has king queen off. So I don't hate his line, but his bet sizings don't make sense. On the turn, he should have bet smaller so that he had a juicier pot size bet to jam with on the river. I think our hand is a pretty good hand to hero call with. Hero call / trap with. It's a bit of a semi-hero call.
What?
What I'm trying to say here is that I played my hand with a lot of pot control, but also for deception. Could be good, could be bad, but in this situation it worked out. And we win a massive pot for 92K. We have almost 200K at this point. All right, what's up guys? We are on dinner break here at the Venetian. We had a huge hand, ace 4 of diamonds, 3-bet it pre, ended up kind of trapping, kind of pot controlling, and as I suspected, someone bluffed it off, and we picked up about 50 big blinds at the time. Well, maybe 40, but either way, big pot. So now we have about 120 big blinds going back to the tournament after the break. It'll be level 10. Blinds will be 600, 1200. Let's get it. We come back from dinner break and pick up ace king off in early position. Blinds are 600, 1200, 1200 big blind ante at level 10. We raised to 3,000. And the hijack 3 bets to 10K. Our opponent has 35,700 to start, or about 30 big blinds.
What do you have?
We are happy to get ace king in for 30 big blinds, so we jam, and our opponent snap calls.
All in. All in.
Oh, that's it.
It's domination nation as our opponent shows ace of clubs, jack of hearts. The flop comes queen of hearts, 10 of hearts, 7 of hearts. Turn, ace of diamonds, river, king of spades. We just got fucked.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is level 13. We have now made it past late entry. We have about 40 big blinds coming back after the break, over 100K, so not bad. Could be better. Let's double up. Let's get that money. Let's go. That was definitely our worst level of the tournament. We had no hands, and we're down to 20 bigs, about 78K. So it could be worse, but yeah, we're gonna need a hand here to double up because we basically went card dead that last level. We're gonna need some help. Wish us luck.
We continue being card dead into the entire level 15 until we have to make some moves in level 16. It is now level 16. In the $800 Venetian, 300K guaranteed. We have 2,500 5K blinds, 5K big blind ante. We have 13 big blinds, about 65K starting stack. Now, in this hand, we have Jack 9 of diamonds under the gun. You could actually jam here, or you could limp. So we limp for 1 big blind. Now, folds to the small blind, who decides to 3x to 15K. The big blind folds, and we have a decision. We're definitely not jamming, but it's between folding or calling. We decide to actually call because there's not a huge difference between having 10 big blinds versus 12 big blinds. The guy made it so small, and we are in position after we call here. So we get to see a flop, and we get to hope for the best. So we make the call, and the flop comes Jack 9-5, about as favorable as you could ask for, right? I think so. The small blind goes ahead and bets 20K. We make the call. No reason to jam. If we jam and he has some sort of bluff, he's just going to fold. He could fold. There's a possibility he folds. So we just want to call. There's really not many bad turns. Now, the turn comes. Jack of hearts, full house. All right. It's looking really good, right? Right? Maybe. I think it looks pretty good. So he goes all in. We snap call for our last 30K. Now, 1 card to decide our fate. Let's see what happens here. The ace of club comes on the river, and he has aces. We get royally fucked on the river. We are out of the tournament. What a brutal way to end it.
Okay guys, we're in the car driving home. That was a bad beat, wasn't it? Rip to us. But you know, things happen. Tournaments are tournaments. I think we played decent. We just didn't have anything happen at the end of the night there. At the end of the last couple levels, we didn't really get any hands. We weren't really doubling up. We were just blinding out. We tried to make something happen with the Jack 9. I think everything I did pre makes sense and is actually fine. The guy only raised 3x, which is very small, out of position. I mean, it's a difference of us having 12 big blinds versus 10, which is like, you know, whatever. So, and there's times when we do flop gem, like with Jack 9 2 pair, we just get paid. Of course, when they river us with the 2-outer, hard to get paid. So, it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Let's get them next time. had to get a video here because this lighting is on point. I look like a goddamn statue.